Salespeople who want to build relationships with executives must enter the picture early in the buying cycle, because this is when 80% of executives, usually or always, become involved in significant purchase decisions. The executive's motivation at this early stage is to understand current business issues, to decide if their business needs to change, and if so, decide if they can handle that change internally or if they need to turn to suppliers for help. At that point, they establish project objectives and set the overall project strategy to deal with what might be termed a breakthrough initiative. Something that is critical to the company's success because of significant payback from its implementation, or serious consequences if action is delayed or not taken. According to one executive from the office furniture industry,
I get involved in the what and why, not so much the how. At the beginning, I put in a lot of personal time making sure the project's on the right track and moving in the right direction. I'm planning now for how my business will look 10 years from now. It's difficult to forecast on our own, so we depend on the ideas of suppliers and partners in the same industry, in the belief that separately we might be wrong, but together we're probably right. Vendors who can't engage in that forward thinking don't get off the ground with me.
in the 3 global studies that built the research base for selling to the C-suite, comments regarding how executives get involved in the early phase of the buying cycle were consistent. In fact, 80% of executives get involved early in their buyer's journey to prioritize projects and set the vision. During the middle phase of the buying cycle, executives tend to reduce their involvement. They delegate decisions to subordinates or committees. Executives say that once a clear vision is set, it's time to empower the people below them.
Once we've defined the parameters, my tendency is to get out of the way.
Most executives never or only occasionally involve themselves at the middle stage. However, all 3 research studies confirmed that executives get involved with their internal staff once again late in the buying cycle to evaluate if the shortlisted vendors can really deliver the original vision, and then, after a supplier is chosen, to measure the results of their implementation. They also told us that the closer you get to the contract being awarded, the less likely they are to supersede the recommendations of the evaluation team. The purchasing decision has usually already been made in their minds, if not on paper. Now, do you see the problem here? The middle phase of the buying cycle is the period when senior executives are least likely to open their calendar to a salesperson. But this is when most invitations to quote and submit proposals are sent to salespeople. It's no surprise then that account managers who get their first scent of a deal at this stage and expect to meet the boss are usually frustrated by the difficulty of doing so. As far as C-suite executives are concerned, when they meet salespeople, they typically see 4 stages of sales proficiency exhibited. The first stage of sales proficiency is a commodity supplier. Salespeople who are commodity suppliers see the world through a pair of product glasses. They believe that if they can just get the opportunity to show their product or service, the features of their product or their brand will help them succeed. Their world extends little further than the execution of tactics such as setting up meetings, making sales presentations, giving demonstrations, and writing proposals. As a result, they rarely get involved early enough in a sale to create opportunities with an executive buyer. The executives we interviewed typically called this type of salesperson a product expert, and one that they would rarely waste their time on. In fact, one said,
"If all someone can do is talk features, functions and benefits, then he's going to turn me off pretty fast."
And another complained,
"At the end of these meetings, I feel like I was interrupted and that they wasted my time."
salespeople typically only get one shot at impressing an executive, and commodity suppliers seldom score a second appointment. However, the tactics you can implement at this point are worth mentioning. To demonstrate some level of follow-through that might impress the executive, you should do two things to try to secure another meeting with them. Namely, number one, ask the executive for an introduction to the appropriate lower level person. And two, ask the executive for a follow-on meeting to review the results. The second stage of sales proficiency is called the emerging resource. A salesperson who is an emerging resource might get involved in a company's decision process after being tested as a commodity supplier for some time, typically at an operations or middle management level. Now, these people have earned their spurs at the lower level and won the right to do more work as a result of their track record. Becoming an emerging resource is where you sell your value beyond pure product to other services and resources that you bring to the relationship. Once they are convinced of this value, customers grant the emerging resource the type of contract that keeps competitors out of an account and widens the specific license to hunt for a specified term in return for preferential pricing or service. The third stage of sales proficiency is the problem solver.